Okay, back to SPQR, and look, it's a tiny, tiny map. This is half the Benvenuto map. This is for the Battle of Acrillae. This is in Sicily itself. Again, we're doing sort of Marcellus sort of Rome scenarios here. He's currently besieging Syracuse and has sent his own forces out to counteract some Carthaginian forces. The Greeks in Syracuse slipped out with this force and came marching down, and you have sort of a meeting engagement here. The Greeks are actually encamped. And this is the van here. I think, according to this, it's all very kind of odd. The cav is supposedly the rear guard itself, but this is supposed to be the advanced guard up here. I'm not sure that the scenario correctly is depicting what happened. They tried to explain it. It's not absolutely clear from that either. But the Roman army's on the march and pretty much ready for anything, and is just slamming into the encamping Greeks. I guess we'll see kind of how this works. The armies are very small here. Let's see, the Syracusans have 40 tactical quality points to be lost, and the Romans have 50. So this should be over pretty quickly, I would guess. We'll see who can react the better. The Greeks are set up with kind of strong forces and somewhat better leadership. The Romans have their common problem here. Of course, they have Marcellus, who's pretty good himself. We have... I'm using this like I'm using for Marcellus because I don't have the counters from the C3I magazine. This is... who is there? Hippocrates. Yeah. And his ratings also are a little bit off, and I'll try to remember to use the right ones. For example, he's an overall commander and actually has a strategy rating. It's a 3, which is the same as his mortality rating, which isn't used in the second edition rules, so that should be okay. Alright, well, we'll get started. Okay, well, the Romans moved forward using their Velite line as a slight screen. The Greeks moved forward with their own light infantry and struck it, drove away most of the Velite line. Yes, they suffered a little bit too, and there's still one here. This one is a Greek one. They didn't get to pull their hoplites up, but that's fine. They actually really didn't want one. They wanted to use their momentum to maybe rally and improve their forces. They didn't get that. I've got a couple no missiles here. I don't think it's going to matter because although the Roman units look like they're unmoved, they've all moved except for these guys back here. You know, just early part of the scenario, I'm not bothering with all the counter flipping. The rest of the Greeks still have to move, and I've got to kind of decide what I'm doing. The cav here is threatening, and if I can pull my rear guard cav across, it outnumbers them and can gain the cav superiority. Otherwise, it's going to be two cav on two. It's going to be both sides having the cav on the opposite flanks. So I may try to do that, but I may also move these skirmishers who are in absolutely the wrong place, right, forward as well. And with the end situation, the Romans have moved up. Marcellus did some rallying, as did the Greeks. So both armies are pretty much in fairly good shape at this point. There's a couple hits on a couple of pieces. We did have one Roman destroyed back here, and I should probably mark that down somewhere just to keep track of this. We got Greeks and Romans, and if I recall correctly, the Romans need 50, and they've taken 5. The Greeks need 40, and they have not. And we'll go on to the next turn. The Roman opened things up, a little bit of healing going on, but then they drove their cav towards a hoplite. Now, the Greek cav tried to trump the momentum, or tried to trump the actual initial call there, and failed, which means the Greek cav is handcuffed. The Romans managed to recover their damage, but they destroyed a hoplite unit. This isn't going to be the battle here, but if they had gotten another one, you know, it would be a big deal. It's still a fair issue, but Now we're back on the Romans again, and they get to trigger their main line, or maybe just the velites if they want. Kind of an option here. They can actually launch their heavies. The problem is there are still these lights here in the front, but if they don't launch their heavies, they may not get a line command to do it with their leader. Hard call. And I chose to throw some of that heavy stuff in front up first, and it drove away the lights, no question, but it also broke a line, the part of the line of the hoplites. Those really don't stand up to a Roman legion hitting them. On the other hand, they can attack back, like the medium infantry, with effectiveness against the legion. So it's kind of a, you want to get the first blow in, whichever side you are. That's why the Romans went with the heavies. At this point, they've used all their leaders except for Marcellus. Now he can try to trump in, but other than that, we're going to see the Greeks being able to do most of the actions. It might be worth using Marcellus just to prevent the Greeks from getting any momentum. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to trump in with him. It's kind of risky, but he needs a 6. He's pretty good. And he gets it, so he's going to bypass both of them, which means they cannot get momentum, and now he gets to slam in yet again. Let's see what that does. So, I don't remember if I said this. Marcellus launched, got that trump roll and launched his attacks. And he's pretty much driven, these are all Romans here, he's driven that hoplite line, you can see it back here. That's going to be a lot of points running off the map if the Greeks can't restore them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably about 30 points. They can't afford to lose that, so they're going to have to try to rally their forces. They have the rest of the initiatives coming here, so we're going to see what they can do. Well, their first leader did a pretty good job. He rallied everything. He still got another one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do that as well. And that works as well. So he rallied everything that he could, but he can't roll for momentum because he got bypassed in that trump. That means I've got to try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to rally with these. I'll do that real quick. That's going to work. And this is just necessary for the Greeks. I mean, they can't take these losses. And that one works as well. But now they have 3 more activations, and they're going to want to counterattack against the Romans. I'm going to use, I think, these 3 straight up, try to knock in, drive those Romans back. Another option would be to try to get a flank attack in. Seems like a clever idea, but maybe too clever. I really just need to get them out of there because they have the advantage on attack. So I'm going to roll those attacks and come back. Well, Marcellus's powerful trumping action really drove the Greeks to a difficult situation. I was wrong about one thing. I couldn't attack with this unit. It was a light. Yeah, I can, but that would be dumb. So I did do the flank attack. And that succeeded, as did one of these. But the attack here, well, after they were done fighting, there's sort of this die roll if they're both close to breaking, and the Greeks ended up breaking on that. So in terms of what withdrew, well, 20 Greek unit points of units routed. That's half what they need. Their army does not look like it's in great shape right now, to say the least. And the Roman army, sure, there's a couple units routing, but those can be rallied pretty easily. The Greek units routing back here are going to be a pain in the butt for the Greeks to rally while still reacting to whatever the Romans are throwing at them. I think it looks really bad for them, and that's not too surprising. Roman legion versus hoplites, no big shock what's going to happen. Well, the Roman praetor up here sent down really quite a heavy force in a line command. using a ragged line, but still able to get a lot of troops smashing in. Then he got to rally a couple of units, and finally he got trumped on his second momentum with a, okay, that's enough of you, where the Greeks were able to trump in, rally a couple of units, and get the trumped momentum, which means the rest of the Roman leaders who are kind of low initiative are going to only get one command each, guaranteed. However, that does still open up. We still got this cav back here ready to try to slip around and do some damage. Well, the Greeks actually got some traction trumping in on the Roman cav when it tried to move in for an outflank. Now they smacked around with an outflank and also drove into the center, and we can see they really buckled the Roman center right down the middle. I don't know if it's enough. There's still a lot of Greek units here. They're 1 unit away from losing it. But they did 13 points to the Romans already, and a lot of Roman stuff running. So, you know, at least they made a fight out of it at the very end. Still got most of the Roman leaders, though. And yeah, that's the end. A couple attempts to rally failed, and we've got, what, 10, 26 more points. They only needed 20 to break. They're out of there. The Roman leader, Marcellus, still hasn't taken his activation, but he can't, even if he bothers to try to rally these 4 units. I don't think 24, 30, 37, 42 total. Even if he tries with every single one and fails, and there's no reason to for the game purposes, he still couldn't lose. I mean, it's basically a situation where the battle's over. The Greeks have routed, and Rome is done. Anyway, interesting little one. Easy to handle in this. And actually kind of a neat situation. I haven't seen the hoplites in action since back when we were doing... oh... yeah, my poor brain. No, it's Pyrrhus. And they're an interesting thing to face the Romans with, because if they hit first, they're kind of like those medium infantry. If they hit first, they're not bad. And they tend to have high quality, which the medium infantry don't tend to have. They're slow, though, and fairly easily abused. They're probably among the worst troops that you see in this game in terms of just, you know, how you can handle them. They can't match up to the phalanxes. They can't match up to the legions. They probably can't match up to the decent light infantry that's at their same quality, say the Iberian lights. They certainly can't handle cav. They're just, you know, so far behind in terms of the technology curve, everything else in the game. Anyway, up this one goes, and it's kind of fun.